Our CBS News campaign team comes to Cleveland. I'm Scott Pelley. It's opening night for the Republican convention.
I'm Nora O'Donnell, and here's a first. The speakers include the nominee in waiting himself, Donald Trump.
I'm Charlie Rose. Trump's Democratic opponent tries to steal his thunder. Hillary Clinton talked to us today.
I'm Gayle King. I'll be on the floor with a fractured party trying to unite behind Trump.
I'm John Dickerson. I'll be at the podium as the TV showman rebrands the GOP into the party of Trump.
And Bob Schieffer has some thoughts on the big gamble.
From the birthplace of rock, the Republicans are ready to roll.
We need a president that's going to turn our country around. We are going to embrace the possibilities of change. We can come back bigger and better and stronger than ever before. I am the law and order candidate. Mike Pence is a man of honor, character, and honesty.
We're ready to put a fighter, a builder, and a patriot in the Oval Office.
We're going to make America great again. Thank you. I love you.
Campaign 2016. CBS News brings you the Republican National Convention. From the Quicken Loans Arena in Cleveland, Ohio, here are Scott Pelley and Nora O'Donnell.
The first time the Republicans met in Cleveland, they nominated the notoriously boring Calvin Coolidge. At a convention so dull, humorist Will Rogers urged churches here to open their doors so the delegates could have some excitement.
Well, Donald Trump is no Calvin Coolidge, and this convention figures to be anything but dull as the delegates prepare to nominate a political novice as their candidate for president, and the party deals with the new reality of a reality star as their standard bearer.
In an unprecedented move, Trump will be speaking on this first night of the convention before he's even nominated. John Dickerson is at the podium. John?
Tonight, Donald Trump begins a four-day effort to finish the rebranding of the Republican Party into the party of Trump. Tonight, the message has been about administration betrayals on everything on the U.S. consulate in Benghazi to immigration policy. The other objective over the 4 days is for Donald Trump to present a more personal picture of himself, more personal and more well-rounded, in the hopes that that public relations pitch will convince voters that he's ready to be president.
All right, John Dickerson there, and Gayle King is in the midst of it all. She's down on the convention floor. I know she's been talking to some of the delegates. Gayle, good evening.
I am Nora. I'm sitting here with the New York delegation. They are Donald Trump's home state, so as you know, they have the best seat in the House, front and center. They say that the slogan, as we know, is Make America Great Again, but some people say it could be Make the GOP United Again, because not everybody is on the same page tonight, but they say wait till November, we will be there, we are coming along. That said, the majority of the people in this room are for Donald Trump. They say that he is real, he is raw, he is not the establishment, and he is their guy.
Gayle, thanks very much. Also on the floor tonight, CBS News Chief White House Correspondent Major Garrett, who's been covering the Trump campaign since the very start. Major?
Disturbance here on the floor. A woman with a pink banner. She is screaming over and over again, Trump's Islamophobia will make America less safe. She's by herself. You see her there, arms raised, pink dress, tan jacket on, being escorted out of her. She had a banner. Trump supporters nearby tried to rip it out of her hands more successfully than she would have preferred. And those around her began to chant USA, USA, and Trump. Her main point was that Trump, on a night devoted to making America safe again, his rhetoric about Islam in general and immigration in specific would make the country less safe. You can see she is being escorted from her seat. And this is, I will tell you, Scott, very near to where Trump's running mate Mike Pence is sitting, maybe about 25, 30 feet from where Mike Pence is now. He's sitting next to Bob Dole, longtime establishment Republican figure. I can tell you Governor Pence is paying no attention to this disturbance whatsoever, acting as if it's not happening at all. The woman being escorted up and out of the Quicken Loans Arena. That is the first evidence we've seen on this floor, Scott, of any organized or systematized opposition to Trump from someone clearly not a delegate, but someone who just wants their voice heard.
And Major, was it just the one woman that you saw there?
They fear for themselves.
Major, do we still have you? Was it just the one protester?
Who are being targeted.
Yes, just one woman, Scott. I could barely hear you, but if you want to ask me that question again, go right ahead.
Well, I was just trying to figure it out that just the one protester there. It's the first time we've seen a protest at the convention on this first day.
Yes, that is correct. Just one, all by herself. And I would not describe this as a significant disturbance. It was isolated in this one particular section of the arena. I would say most of the arena is not even aware of it. But here, and its proximity to Governor Pence made it more noticeable. And I will just say, Scott, I'm about 25 feet from it, so I noticed it as well.
The crowd coming to their feet to cheer former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani, who in the theme of the night is talking about Donald Trump making America safe again. Major, you've been on the floor for much of the day. Earlier, there was a disturbance among delegates. Describe what happened earlier today.
Well, I would say it was an organized effort to change the rules here for the convention, rules written by the Republican National Committee to smooth Donald Trump's path to the nomination. A renegade group of delegates, most of them opposed to Donald Trump, but not all, tried to change or tried to ask for a roll call vote on those rules. That would have been a very time-consuming process. It would have delayed what you see behind me now. The Trump forces in the RNC used a series of procedural moves to thwart them. They did not like it, and that created a disturbance on the floor, a bit of an uprising. It lasted all of about 15 minutes. It was resolved, and those in the Trump faction that oppose him, they call themselves the Never Trump movement, have sort of reconciled themselves to defeat. They gave it their best effort. They're not in any way, shape, or form more motivated than they were to support Trump, but they are acknowledging they're defeated. Trump has won, the RNC has won, and he will be the nominee. Scott?
Major, earlier this evening, we had a chance to speak with one of the leaders of the anti-Trump movement. He is the senator from Utah, Mike Lee. We asked him about a little bit of backroom maneuvering that occurred earlier today. The anti-Trump faction inside the Republican Party believed that it had the support of enough state delegations to force a roll call vote on changing the rules in hopes of preventing a first ballot victory by Donald Trump. But strangely and very surprising to the convention, the chair announced during that process that 3 of the states had backed out. Well, Mike Lee, the senator of Utah, called that backroom maneuvering shameful, and this is what else he had to say.
In your opinion, I take it this convention is not proceeding in a fair manner.
Not so far. I hope that changes. Look, this doesn't have to be a defining moment for us. This can be an illuminating moment, a revealing moment where we identify some of the areas of our party that aren't working right to improve them. I should be clear, by the way, I don't think this is Mr. Trump's fault. I don't think he was behind this. This was the RNC. This was the people running this convention. They owe the delegates an apology. They owe Mr. Trump an apology.
Will Donald Trump be the nominee?
I think he probably will be. And I think it's almost certain that he will be. He would emerge much stronger from this convention if we were able to have our votes.
But the party didn't want to take that vote because they didn't want to count the noses of all the people who were against Mr. Trump.
Sure, I understand your question, but respectfully, sir, the party is this. The party is the delegates who are here. The party is not the RNC.
Will you support Donald Trump?
He has yet to earn my vote. I would like him to earn it.
How does he do that?
He does so by embracing the principles that have made this country strong. Principles of constitutional restraint, federalism, separation of powers. The principles that say we should govern locally. Most powers should be kept away from Washington. Those few that go to Washington should be exercised within the 3 branches of government, respectively. If he'd do that, he could win over a whole lot of conservatives like me.
Is it over now, the attempt to prevent Trump from winning on the first ballot?
I don't know. I have no idea.
What would you do next?
I really don't know. But again, I think it's important for us to remember that this doesn't have to be our defining moment. This was shameful, to be sure. It was unfortunate. It was a lost opportunity. But it doesn't have to define us. We can still have unity. But we need to do the things that united people do, which is respect each other's opinions, treat each other with dignity and respect, and allow people to cast their votes, express their differences, and then we move on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Senator Mike Lee of Utah, supporter of Ted Cruz and a member of the Utah delegation.
This is a big night because shortly we're going to hear from Donald Trump himself. He's going to be introducing his wife, Melania Trump, who is the keynote speaker this evening. But the warm-up act is Rudy Giuliani. Let's listen in for just a moment.
For now almost 30 years. I know him personally. And this is a very good and decent man, and he will be a great president. In the last 7 months, there have been 5 major Islamic terrorist attacks on us and our allies. We must not be afraid to define our enemy. It is Islamic extremist terrorism. For the purposes of the media, I did not say all of Islam. I did not say most of Islam. I said Islamic extremist terrorism. You know who you are. And we're coming to get you. Failing to identify them properly maligns all those good Muslims around the world who are being killed by them. They are killing more Muslims than anyone else. It also sets up a fear of being politically incorrect that can have serious consequences. It did in San Bernardino. It did with Major Nadal. He was yelling Allah Akbar. The only person who couldn't figure out this was an Islamic terrorist extremist attack was Barack Obama. Who called it workplace violence. This is why our enemies see us as weak and vulnerable. Donald Trump has said the first step in defeating our enemies is to identify them properly and see the connections between them so we can find them and catch them. To defeat Islamic extremist terrorists, we must put them on defense. If they are at war against us, which they have declared, we must commit ourselves to unconditional victory against them. This includes undoing one of the worst deals America ever made, Obama's nuclear agreement with Iran, that will eventually let them become a nuclear power, and is putting billions of dollars back into a country that's the world's largest supporter of terrorism. We are actually giving them the money to fund the terrorists who are killing us and our allies. We are giving them the money. Are we crazy? Donald Trump will make sure that any agreement with Iran meets the original goals of the UN and our allies, a non-nuclear Iran. Donald Trump is a leader. He will reassert America's position as the nation with the best values to lead the world. It was Hillary Clinton who advocated for the overthrow of Gaddafi in Libya. Now Libya is in chaos. Hillary Clinton is accountable for this and much more. Her dereliction of duty and failure to keep her people safe played a major role, as you heard tonight, in the horrific Islamic terrorist murders on September 11 and 12, 2012, in Benghazi, which claimed the lives of 4 brave Americans. Ambassador J. Christopher Stevens, U.S. Foreign Service Officer Sean Smith, and CIA agents Tyrone S. Woods and Glenn Doherty. May they rest in peace. And Clinton and the Obama administration, for political reasons, lied about the purpose of the attacks, including Hillary Clinton lying directly to the families of the people who were killed right to their face. Hillary Clinton's answer to Congress about the death of these 4 brave Americans, because of her gross failures as Secretary of State, was, quote, "What difference at this point does it make?" What difference does it make? Watch the video yourself and see the arrogant disregard for American lives lost unnecessarily because of her, and then make up your own mind. Anyone who... It means we're getting to them. It means we're getting to them. It means we're getting to them. Anyone who can say that it makes no difference how or why people serving America are killed should not be entrusted with the awesome responsibility to protect them and us, and should not be allowed to be our commander-in-chief. Who would trust Hillary Clinton
Rudy Giuliani, mayor of New York, during 9/11, firing up this Republican crowd, and he is speaking just before Donald Trump will take the stage, taking the stage tonight to introduce his wife, Melania, and our John Dickerson is down on the podium now. John, what is Melania Trump going to say?
Well, she's going to begin a process, or continue a process we heard Rudy Giuliani just engage in a little bit here. He's obviously talking about terrorism a lot, but he also testified to Donald Trump's character, talked about anonymous acts of charity that Donald Trump committed. The idea is that Donald Trump that you've heard about in the media is not the one that they know. He got a big applause line, Rudy Giuliani did. We talk about unity. He unified the crowd here as he talked about the private Donald Trump. Melania Trump will do that same thing, introduce, again, this idea of a personal Donald Trump to tamp down those worries voters have about him.
And we have received an advanced copy of Melania's speech. In the speech, she says in part that Donald Trump will bring kindness, love, and compassion to the White House.
In fact, Melania herself talks about being an immigrant, just becoming a U.S. citizen in 2006. So we'll hear more of that indeed. I want to go to Gayle King, who is there on the convention floor, has been talking to a number of delegates. And Gayle, I understand you've heard many of these delegates very anxious to hear from the Trump family.
They are, Nora. This is Michelle Marini. She's from Rochester, New York. This is her first convention as a delegate on the floor. And Michelle, we were talking about Melania Trump's speech. You said you're really looking forward to hearing from her tonight. Why?
I think we need to see the softer side of Donald Trump. I said it's important to me to see the person that he wakes up with in the morning, someone who pushes him out of the way in the bathroom to brush their teeth, the real deal Donald, the guy that's maybe not the businessman when he wakes up, but the guy who's the dad and the husband and the father and everything we need.
Well, she is the one who would know the answers to those questions. I was talking to some people in the room who say, listen, they're not with Donald Trump yet, but they will be with him come November. Other people are wearing buttons that say Donald Trump from day one. You were one of those people.
Absolutely. I think he's a businessman. I think our country needs a businessman. I think we need somebody that's committed to making us great, and he's worked up from the bottom to the top. He's had everything thrown at him, but he's ended up doing a good job.
All right, Michelle Marini, and you would describe the energy in the room as what?
This is really high energy for night one. I can't imagine what Thursday's going to be like. It's going to be amazing.
All right, thank you, Michelle. Nora and Scott, back to you.
Gail, really interesting. I have to just add, though, that Melania Trump has said, though, that one of the keys to their successful marriage is they have separate bathrooms. So I don't know how much she could say about pushing him out of the way when she needs to use the sink.
Major Garrett's down on the convention floor for us. Rudy Giuliani has just wrapped up. Major?
Yeah, Scott, we can tell you about one other minor, and I do want to emphasize, minor disturbance and or protest. If David Gladstone, my photographer, would follow me up here, just above this sign it says Republican National Convention in red, there was one person with a sign that read in big, bold letters, "Refugees Welcome." Those on the floor saw that, shouted them down, escorted out. End of story. Scott?
Major, thank you very much. We're expecting Donald Trump in the next minute or so. Very unusual, maybe unprecedented, Nora, for a nominee to appear on the first night of the convention before he's actually nominated.
And not only that, appearing on another network, Fox News Network, at about 8:30, when the convention was talking to a mother, Patricia Smith, whose son was killed during the Benghazi attacks. A very emotional ceremony. But Donald Trump wants to be here all 4 nights. It just got dark here.
This is the dramatic run-up to Donald Trump taking the stage. His prepared remarks are exactly 28 words. Let's see if he sticks to it. Here's Donald Trump.
We love you. Thank you very much. We're going to win. We're going to win so big. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. We're going to win so big. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to win so big. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor to present the next First Lady of the United States, my wife, an amazing mother, an incredible woman, Melania Trump. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You have all been very kind to Donald and me, to our young son Barron, and to our whole family. It's a very nice welcome, and we are excited to be with you at this historic convention. I'm so proud of your choice for President of the United States, my husband, Donald J. Trump. And I can assure you, he's moved by this great honor. The 2016 Republican primaries were fierce and started with many candidates, 17 to be exact. And I know that Donald agrees with me when I mention how talented all of them are. They deserve their respect and gratitude from all of us. However, when it comes to my husband, I will say that I'm definitely biased, and for a good reason. I have been with Donald for 18 years, and I have been aware of his love for this country since we first met. He never had a hidden agenda when it comes to his patriotism, because, like me, he loves this country very much. I was born in Slovenia, a small, beautiful, and then communist country in Central Europe. My sister Ines, who is an incredible woman and a friend, and I were raised by my wonderful parents. My elegant and hard-working mother, Amalia, introduced me to fashion and beauty. My father, Victor, installed in me a passion for business and travel. Their integrity, compassion, and intelligence reflects to this day on me and for my love of family and America. From a young age, my parents impressed on me the values that you work hard for what you want in life, that your word is your bond, and you do what you say and keep your promise, that you treat people with respect. They taught and showed me values and morals in their daily life. That is a lesson that I continue to pass along to our son. And we need to pass those lessons on to the many generations to follow. Because we want our children in this nation to know that the only limit to your achievements is the strength of your dreams and your willingness to work for them. I'm fortunate for my heritage, but also for where it brought me today. I traveled the world while working hard in the incredible arena of fashion. After living and working in Milan and Paris, I arrived in New York City 20 years ago, and I saw both the joys and hardships of daily life. On July 28, 2006, I was very proud to become citizens of the United States. The greatest privilege on planet Earth. I cannot or will not take the freedoms this country offers for granted. But these freedoms have come with a price so many times. The sacrifices made by our veterans are reminders to us of this. I would like to take a moment to recognize an amazing veteran, the great Senator Bob Dole. And let us thank all of our veterans in the arena today and those across our great country. We are all truly blessed to be here. That will never change. I can tell you with certainty that my husband has been concerned about our country for as long as I have known him. With all of my heart, I know that he will make a great and lasting difference. Donald has a great and deep and unbonding determination and a never-give-up attitude. I have seen him fight for years to get the project done, or even started, and he does not give up. If you want someone to fight for you and your country, I can assure you, he's the guy. He will never, ever give up. And most importantly, he will never, ever let you down. Donald is and always has been an amazing leader. Now he will go to work for you. His achievements speak for themselves, and his performance throughout the primary campaign proved that he knows how to win. He also knows how to remain focused on improving our country, on keeping it safe and secure. He is tough when he has to be, but he's also kind and fair and caring. This kindness is not always noted, but it is there for all to see. That is one reason I fell in love with him to begin with. Donald is intensely loyal to family, friends, employees, country. He has the utmost respect for his parents, Mary and Fred, to his sister Marianne and Elizabeth, to his brother Robert, and to the memory of his late brother Fred. His children have been cared for and mentored to the extent that even his advisories admit they are an amazing testament to who he is as a man and a father. There is a great deal of love in the Trump family. That is our bond, and that is our strength. Yes, Donald thinks big, which is especially important when considering the presidency of the United States. No room for small thinking, no room for small results. Donald gets things done. Our country is underperforming and needs new leadership. Leadership is also what the world needs. Donald wants our country to move forward in the most positive of ways. Everyone wants change. Donald is the only one that can deliver it. We should not be satisfied with stagnation. Donald wants prosperity for all Americans. We need new programs to help the poor and opportunities to challenge the young. There has to be a plan for growth. Only then will fairness result. My husband's experience exemplifies growth and successful passage of opportunity to the next generation. His success indicates inclusion rather than division. My husband offers a new direction, welcoming change, prosperity, and greater cooperation among peoples and nations. Donald intends to represent all the people, not just some of the people. That includes Christians and Jews and Muslims. It includes Hispanics and African Americans and Asians and the poor and the middle class. Throughout his career, Donald has successfully worked with people of many faiths and with many nations. Like no one else, I have seen the talent, the energy, the tendency, the resourceful mind, and the simple goodness of the heart that God gave to Donald Trump. Now is the time to use those gifts as never before for purposes far greater than ever. And he will do this better than anyone else can, and it won't even be close. Everything depends on it for our cause and for our country. People are counting on him, all the millions of you who have touched us so much with your kindness and your confidence. You have turned this unlikely campaign into a movement that is still gaining in strength and number. The primary season and its toughness is behind us. Let's all come together in a national campaign like no other. The race will be hard fought all the way to November. There will be good times and hard times and unexpected turns. It would not be a Trump contest without excitement and drama. But throughout it all, my husband will remain focused on only one thing: this beautiful country that he loves so much. If I'm honored to serve as First Lady, I will use that wonderful privilege to try to help people in our country who need it the most. One of the many causes dear to my heart is helping children and women. You judge society by how it treats its citizens. We must do our best to ensure that every child can live in comfort and security with the best possible education. As the citizens of this great nation, it is kindness, love, and compassion for each other that will bring us together and keep us together. These are the values Donald and I will bring to the White House. My husband is ready to lead this great nation. He's ready to fight every day to give our children the better future they deserve. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald J. Trump is ready to serve and lead this country as the next President of the United States. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
And there you have it, Melania Trump, the wife of Donald Trump, delivering a speech where she talked about the kindness and simple goodness of his heart. Charlie Rose is here with us. Charlie, I spoke to a top advisor to the Trump campaign today who said Melania has been practicing for weeks on this speech.
Well, it shows. I bet Donald Trump is very proud of her tonight. She showed a different side of him than Rudy Giuliani showed, and she proved, I suspect, that she can be an asset in the campaign as this crowd is reacting to her.
English is not her native language, Scott. I mean, she does speak 5 different languages, and today she delivered a perfect speech.
She did. It was by the script, but delivered, as you say, with great perfection. It was in some part a speech that was designed to repair or begin to repair breaches with the Islamic community and with Hispanics and with Asians, people who might have felt offended by some of Donald Trump's rhetoric over the past year. She included all of them in her speech to talk about how Trump would be the president of all of America. John Dickerson is down at the podium for us tonight. John, what did you see?
Well, this was definitely a new kind of speech from a candidate's spouse. She talked about Donald Trump, but not really in the personal terms that Ann Romney used in 2012 when she talked about Mitt Romney when they were poor, eating pasta and tuna as a way to use personal stories to give people an insight into the candidate. Really, the showman Ronald, and back to you, Scott.
And Gayle King is down on the convention floor for us, Gayle.
Scott, we are here now with Chris Christie. He's been watching the speech. Everyone in this area said she was confident and she was very poised. Governor Christie, your reaction to Melania Trump tonight?
I think America saw tonight someone who's smart, articulate, who loves her husband and loves her country. And I think it was a great message tonight for her and a great way to start the convention.
Is it bittersweet for you? You know, there were reports today that Chris Christie was livid that he wasn't chosen. Were you livid? Was this tough for you sitting here tonight?
I think Paul Manafort absolutely said publicly that that was not true. And so,
how did you feel?
Well, disappointed, of course. I mean, you know, if you compete for something, at least the way I compete for things, whenever I compete for something, I want to win. But I'm very excited about Mike being the nominee. He's a friend. I'm glad that Donald picked a governor. I think that's really important to have done, to have someone who can be a partner with him in that way, to govern with him. And so I'm chairman of the transition. I take a deep breath and have a big plan to put together for President-elect Trump.
I know we haven't seen the last of you. People in the room are saying not everybody is on the same page with Donald Trump yet, but we will be there by November. Do you think that he will be able to unite the GOP party?
He'll be able to do it, and so will Hillary Clinton.
Thank you very much, Chris Christie, for your time tonight. Scott and Nora, back to you two.
Gayle, thanks very much. We're going to be back in just a moment with Charlie Rose's exclusive interview today with Hillary Clinton. Back from Cleveland in just a moment.
Donald Trump is the agent of change, and he will be the leader of the change we need.
Donald wants prosperity for all Americans.
Which camera? That
Presidential candidates usually keep a low profile during the opposition party's convention, but that is not the case on this convention. Hillary Clinton spoke today with Charlie Rose. Charlie?
Scott, I spoke to her in Cincinnati after she had addressed the NAACP. We talked about that, but we also talked about Donald Trump, and she was very tough and called him very dangerous, perhaps the most dangerous presidential candidate in the history of this country.
No self-discipline, no self-control, no sense of history, no understanding of the limits of the kind of power that any president should impose upon himself. He has shown none of that. Let's return to torture. And you know what? I will order the American military to commit war crimes. What he has laid out is the most dangerous, reckless approach to being president than I think we've ever seen.
The most dangerous man ever to run for president of the United States.
I believe that.
Why then is today in the polls, most recent poll, within 2 or 3 points?
Well,
this is a man you just described in such harsh terms is close to being even with you.
Well, our presidential elections are close, and the campaign is really just starting. But here's what's really happening, I believe. There is a lot of fear in our country. And when Americans are worried, they're looking for answers. He's providing simplistic, easy answers. Let's make America great again, which means basically we'll go back to the way it was, and you out there, whoever you are, you're going to have a better shot. It is a unfair and wrong-headed view of history.
Are you speaking to these fears and these concerns in a way that there is an alternative that they can clearly see, so they believe and trust you to be on their side?
Well, that's what I intend to do. And I have a very clear sense of what we can do that will actually produce results, not just demagogic rhetoric, but real results.
I mean, this really goes to the core of how some people in significant polls say
Well, I
They say
I think
they don't trust you.
Well, but
and you have thought about this, and you have begun to speak about
yes,
this.
I have. Yes, I have.
Well, tell us.
Well, I mean, it is something that clearly I don't like to hear. Nobody would, and it is at such variance with the way I am perceived when I'm doing a job. Part of it is seeking this job at this time of fear, anxiety, discouragement, rejectionism that is unfortunately part of our political environment right now. I understand people who are asking these questions, and I hope by the time we have this election, it will be clear to voters who they can count on.
Charlie, I mean, it's great, and I know you've got so much more of this interview that will air tonight on your show. I mean, on the night that they're saying make America safe again,
Yes.
Hillary Clinton is saying this guy can't be trusted with the nuclear codes.
Exactly what she said, but she at the same time understands and talked about the fact that she has a huge trust factor. And
Herself.
For herself, and that she's not perfect, and that she has to go out to the American people and convince them to believe in her.
In our latest CBS News polls, 67% of the American people said they did not trust her. That's a tall hill to climb.
Absolutely. But she's talking about herself. But we're looking in this upcoming race, the two most least popular political candidates ever to run for the presidency.
A remarkable campaign.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And beginning with a remarkable first night here at the Republican Convention. We're going to have our panel of political experts and the insight of Bob Schieffer when we come back from Cleveland.
Welcome back to the Republican National Convention here in Cleveland, where we have heard from Donald Trump and Melania Trump tonight. Joining us now, our panel of CBS News political analysts, Peggy Noonan of the Wall Street Journal, Jamelle Bouie of Slate, and Mark Leibovich of the New York Times. Peggy, let me start with you. We heard last night on 60 Minutes Donald Trump say that his choice of Mike Pence as the VP had unified that party. Did we see that today here?
Oh, my goodness, I do not think we did. I mean, we just saw a floor full of people all together listening to Mrs. Trump, who I think added some real glamour to the proceedings. I think before that, things occasionally rhetorically, in terms of the speeches, had been a little bit grim. There was a sense of people being besieged and awfully angry about it. There's a lot of boos and a lot of no's and such. But to your question, I think the party, the Republican Party, has had about 8 or 10 weeks to get used to the idea that it has a nominee and to unify around him. I think it became clear today in the fights and voice votes that that has not happened, that it did not happen.
Jamelle Bouie, you know, one of the things that I noticed today is that it is just the first day, but the hall has been about half empty all day long. Of course, we know that neither of the presidents Bush have decided to come. Other notables such as John McCain, Lindsey Graham are missing as well. Is the party uniting around Donald Trump?
You know, it doesn't appear. A poll recently came out yesterday, I think, NBC News and Wall Street Journal, which found that 67% of Republicans were unhappy with their nominee. Just 38% were happy with it. And while I think most Republicans will end up voting for Donald Trump in November, it is very clear to me, looking at the numbers, looking at this seemingly sparsely attended convention, looking just at the lack of party stars at this convention, not just former presidential candidates or former presidents, but a whole sort of constellation of governors and senators and people who you would expect to see at a convention like this. The fact that these people are absent from it, the fact that so many Republicans say they are unhappy, strongly suggests that what we're looking at is a Republican Party that is fundamentally divided over the question of Donald Trump.
Yeah, and on that note, Jamelle and Mark, we notice now there's still speakers going on, and pretty much a bunch of people have already left. The program's not over. I mean, this is a former general, Michael Flynn, who is speaking right now, raising questions about the national security credentials of Hillary Clinton. Mark, talk about that. I mean, we're going to hear more from Trump family members than we are going to hear from sitting U.S. senators.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any question this is not a unified party. Certainly nothing today would lead one to think that that has happened at all. I think what's interesting is that Donald Trump doesn't seem to care, and I think a lot of the other people don't seem to care. There's a sense of almost dispassionate division here, and it's almost as if Donald Trump is trying to, start his own, almost quasi-independent party and let the RNC sort of run it and pay for it. And, again, as Peggy said, he had 6-7 weeks to really do this, and he doesn't seem to have cared that much. So, look, it adds drama, it adds a level of interest. I think Melania Trump gave a very, very good speech tonight, especially for a political novice, but the sense of unity is certainly not something that anyone takes with them as they're flooding to the exits right now.
Mark, Jamal, Peggy, thanks very much for that this evening, and let's just check in with John Dickerson, who's down at the podium. John?
Scott, I think one thing we will look back on is that entrance by Donald Trump. It was notable, obviously, that he was here on the first night. Some people may remember when Nancy Reagan waved to Ronald Reagan up on a big screen in 1984 and the hall went nuts. That happened again here with Donald Trump, and as he reshapes the party in his image, that was literally him reshaping the party in his image. He said nothing, but the crowd went crazy. So just as we watch the transformation here, that's going to be a notable moment. Back to you, Nora.
All right, John Dickerson, and as I mentioned, since we're hearing from General Flynn, one of the other big stars we're expected to hear from tonight is Senator Joni Ernst, a Republican from Iowa, who's a rising star in this Republican Party, and yet many people have already left the stage here. Gail, you're on the convention floor. Tell us what you've heard from the delegates.
We already talked about the roll call vote.
Gail is there on.
Hey.
Hi, I know you were just talking about the roll call vote there.
I know, Nora. We were having a conversation with delegates from Utah because you were involved in a little kerfluffle earlier in the day. Some people say it was much ado about nothing. Some people say it shows a fracture in the party. You say what, Phil?
Not a fracture in the party. It's an opportunity for the delegates to speak and be heard. That's all we wanted.
And your reaction to Melania Trump?
I thought she was charming. She was sincere and charming.
Yeah, but he only took 10 seconds to introduce her as opposed to 28.
She probably said, sweetheart, make it short and sweet so I can talk.
Okay, James Evans, you are from Utah as well. Listen, you are a black man from Utah, a Republican voting for Donald Trump, all good qualities, but people are looking at you and going, huh? And to that you say?
Well, I say join the Trump train. Try the opportunity. We, as African Americans, for a long time, have just been Democrats.
What do your friends say to you?
Well, really, they're a little bit amused, but I say, look at the policies of the left and have they delivered for our community, and they have not.
All right, thank you very much. 2 delegates from Utah. Back to you, Nora and Scott.
Thank you, Gail. And we also have a man who has been covering these conventions since 1968. Bob Schieffer is with us tonight. Bob?
Scott, this one is different. The Republican Party is betting its future now on a candidate who has never held public office, never served in the military, is anti-trade, anti-entitlement reform, and has proposed a budget critics say would add trillions of dollars to the national debt. By any conventional reasoning, he is a long shot, but this is not a typical year. Republican primary voters chose him because they say he speaks his mind and they feel abandoned by their party leaders. But his nomination has left this party deeply divided, so divided, even Republican Governor John Kasich, the host governor, will not be here. His friends say he will not set foot in the arena because he disagrees with what Trump stands for and feels it would be hypocritical to give his stamp of approval. Modern history shows that candidates outside their party mainstreams don't do well. Barry Goldwater wrestled the nomination from the Republican establishment in '64, but lost to Lyndon Johnson. Democrats kicked out party regulars in '72 and nominated George McGovern. He won only one state. Donald Trump may or may not win, but in a party facing an identity crisis, the overriding question here is he changing the party for better or worse, or as many establishment Republicans worry, destroying it altogether.
Bob Schieffer, thank you very much. Donald Trump made an appearance here tonight just to introduce his wife, but very unusual, Nora, for the candidates to show up on the first night of the convention.
But we know there's nothing usual about Donald Trump.
and so it seems. He stuck to his script, about 28 words. His running will be... I'm sorry?
Yeah. Mike Pence.
We'll have more coverage from here tomorrow on CBS This Morning and the CBS Evening News. For Nora O'Donnell and the rest of us here in Cleveland, good night.